Welcome for episode 23 of our Awaken.Wisdom.Experience series. We will begin with our invocation prayers. Dear Swami, we seek your guidance and your presence as we continue to explore the chapters of Gita Vahini. Please guide us. Help us stay in tune with our divine consciousness every moment so that we can offer our very best version. So, as I said, we are at episode 23, but we are still in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. We are making slow but steady progress. Chapter 2 has been really vast. We started with Atmic qualities, and then we went deep into how to do our duties with love but without attachment, and what are the barriers that we face while doing our duties. So we are continuing still in chapter 2. Um, just to recap, last month's episode, we talked about equanimity. If this swing picture brings back some memories of our discussion, Sister Advaita did a beautiful session. She compared our life experiences, which is always a mix of what we perceive as good, and it swings back and forth between what we perceive as bad. But more importantly, how we tend to cling on to those good moments, and then we refuse to acknowledge and process those perceived not so good ones. And then we are swayed in our emotions, and we lose our clarity as a result. And that was the crux of our discussion last time. Dr. Govind also reminded us that why do we feel this way? And he used the analogy of winning a lottery ticket. He asked us to imagine that if we win the lottery ticket and we won $1 million, at that time, nothing affects us. No matter what anybody says, no matter, if there is any insult, any praise that comes our way, we are not bothered by it because we are in that heightened state of excitement and happiness that nothing bothers us. But then he reminded us also that staying in tune with our atma, and being in aware of our divine consciousness, can give us so much more bliss, not even happiness. It is something beyond that we cannot even comprehend it. That level of bliss is what is waiting for us, if only we take that time to process things and keep ourselves, level. So that is why we said equanimity is the need for the hour, not just now, but I think in everyday situations, it is a great tool to have. So we then went on to see, okay, what are some barriers that we face um, that is stopping us from being in that state of equanimity. There were two big things, two broad umbrellas, things that we run towards. That is, what are the things that we crave or we attach ourselves to, and then things that we run away from, our aversions. We group them very broadly. So when asked, all of us kind of responded in similar lines. We all agreed children, grandchildren are probably, our biggest, attachments. Sometimes we also attach ourselves to our belief systems. We constantly expect ourselves to be perfect, which in turn, puts a lot of pressure on us, and there is a lot of self-criticism and self-pity that comes out of it. We create this illusion of, that we are the ones doing whatever karma it is, that we have this false sense of doership, which again creates that attachment to that job and that result of that job. We always expect things either a certain way, or we lay those expectations on other people, which leads to disappointment, which leads to, other negative feelings. We also have, quite the affinity towards wealth and material possessions, all of which triggered by what we see, what we hear. We tend to, want that because, we think that is something we need. Again, false sense of, the illusion that the mind creates. Then we switched gear and we talked about what are things that we run away from, what are our fears, what are our aversions. And pretty much the pattern was, quite predictable. We all said, we are afraid of change, we are afraid to face conflicts and uncertainty. We are scared that we don't have control. Because of that self-criticism, we are afraid of failing. So that's why we run away from failures. Grief, even though we know it is part of life, we still feel a certain amount of fear towards that grief. Some people even said that they have this aversion towards animals. Again, these are all things that either we bring as vasanas from our past, or it could be a void that we are trying to fill. That is what even Dr. Govind explained very beautifully last time, that why do we feel this sense of attachment, or why do we feel averse to certain things? It is this sense of seeking something outside, like a piece of missing puzzle piece, that we are looking outside rather than looking inside, and we are trying to fill that void using all of these objects. Either we are trying to hide from it, or we associate with it too much, that we are failing to recognize that it is more of a void that is inside than outside. um, so we use the analogy of how our neighbor, if he has a fancy car, and we use that example to see how our senses can trigger this, false sense of attachment towards that car. Maybe we touch the car, maybe we even go on a ride in it, and now we tend to believe that we want this car, we should own this car, whether we can afford it or not. We, somehow in some way or means we want it. But then when we realize we are not at the position to either get it or, um, you know, f- feed our senses, then that's when the anger is frequently the expression. When that need is not met, we find ways to show that anger in many different ways. Sometimes leading to, clouding of our judgment and making some unruly actions, damaging relationships, and so on and so forth. Um, Chapter 2 actually gives us a remedy for this whole issue. One who is able to withdraw the senses from their objects, just as a tortoise withdraws its limb into its shell, is established in divine wisdom. So the chapter mentions about withdrawing of senses and how it is critical to get that divine wisdom. When Advaita and I were talking about it, we had quite a bit of things, we brainstormed. But at this point, we want to ask all of you this question, keeping our attachments and keeping our, aversions in mind. What does withdrawing of senses mean for you? How does it look for you? If you would like to share your responses in the chat, Advaita, if you want to read it out, we want to see if what we brainstorm is kind of, is in a similar pattern with what you all have in mind. What does the drawing of senses look for you?
We have one person saying being not reactive, being calm, not reacting again.
It could even be ways that you withdraw from your senses, some methods, some strategies that you use to keep your senses under control.
Reducing screen time.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Deep breathing, yoga. Chanting, namasmarana.
Excellent.
Gardening.
Gardening, that's coming.
Bhajans. reading Swami's discourses.
Yes, yes, very nice. I like how all the spiritual sadhanas are, intertwined in it. So this is the list that we came up with. Many of you addressed, almost all of these things in different ways. Behaviorally, it might be pausing, to understand, having that empathy to listen, understanding another person's perspective, looking at the positives in situation, believing, strongly believing that there is that divinity in every single person, every single, being that we meet. Constant self introspection, constant reflection on our actions and our thoughts and our words. Reading scriptures, I know somebody said this. Faith is our biggest key that would help us, keep our senses under check. Of course, silence and, going even for a walk and mindfulness practices, taking absolutely a minute, a few minutes to pause ourselves from whatever we are doing and grounding ourselves, I think, and finally surrendering. Those are all things we felt that, withdrawing senses can mean those things. With that said, I know somebody said gardening. I know this question also came up last time about, this attachment and anger and fear. As much as we try, it keeps popping up. It keeps coming back over and over again. For some reason or the other, we have new triggers every single day. As I was reflecting on it, I was reminded of this particular plant, which often comes out of my grass, and this is called the thistle. If in Chicago, this is a very common weed we have in our grass. The It is a weed, but I still feel there is so much resilience to this weed. The root is very deep. It has thorny leaves, so you have to wear specialized gloves for it, or else it itches a lot to go and take this out. But the key is to take it out completely. You have to dig really deep and then pull it out all the way from its root, or else it keeps coming back. It comes back so quickly that it is so annoying, and it grows so quickly also. That is how I relate all my, all the Arishad Vargas, in general, the anger and jealousy and attachment and all of these things. I feel, in order to completely get rid of it, you have to go much deeper than the surface level. And the only way is to constantly do it. You have to, it's a meticulous process, and sometimes it is uncomfortable, to expose yourself and to, be vulnerable and to get that, feeling out and label it and recognize it and saying, okay, I'm angry, yes, but what is that underlying reason that I'm angry? What is it that's truly upsetting me? So this is something Uncle always, reminds us that you have to come out of that comfort zone to truly experience, some bigger things. So this is just a PSA reminder that we are all, in this together, and that is the reason why we go much, much deeper, and it is uncomfortable at times, but that also tells us that we are, going somewhere, in the right direction. So anything that you would like to add, Advaita? Go for it.
Uh, Sairam, everyone. Yes, Anusha, just that, I have been following one of the spiritual mentors online. His name is Rupa Spira. And then what he says is that for every issue, you can handle it two ways. One is to go inwards and one is going outwards. So what is this inward path? Inward path is like focusing on God, like maybe we surrender to God or we focus on the Atma self that we are, the awareness that we are, or we sit in silence. It's like, increasing that light within us by focusing on that light. You don't have to do anything else. It's like, let's say the anger, the emotions and the attachments are like these little black spots, but the light is shining so brightly that they kind of just dissipate on their own. And the other one, just like you said, is the outward path. And that is like you find out the root cause, go deep into the attachment. Why am I getting triggered? So we go deep down into our attachments. And then that just solves like one part of the problem. But then what do we do next, right? So what he suggests is like, go close to the emotion, go so close to the emotion. Now, natural tendency is like we distract ourselves either through like say television, gadgets, or go shopping or whatever we try to distract, but the problem, the
Underlying.
sore underneath is still there, right? So we come face to face with it, like let's say analyzing how do I feel when I'm angry. Maybe it is that heartbeat, it's rising, or that sweating, or some uneasiness in your body. Where is it? Just staying with it instead of running away. You stay with it till the time it goes. And I did that, and sometimes it takes a really long time, like at half an hour, and it's like I'm wasting my time. But then as we keep practicing it, that time decreases. So I think, what I wanted to say is that I think based on what we saw from our participants last month, as well as the responses, I think we are applying both of these outward and the inner paths.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Suresh Uncle, if we may ask you a question at this time, would you like to share about how your journey has been and what has helped you stay on track, and be pointed and focused? Have you had bad days? That's what we wanted to know.
Sairam, by the infinite grace, love, and compassion of Bhagavan Baba, we are here. So nice that we have already reached. It's almost close to 6 years now. The next month, isn't it? The anniversary, 6 years anniversary. Yeah. Okay. So what I just wanted to say is, can you go back to the previous slide? Then I will explain that with reference to the experience. The previous slide, which talks about all those. Okay. You see, people, like you see, the tortoise has got 5 limbs. So this is why in the Vedanta and also in the Viveka Chudamani, this all describes the 5 senses is like the 5 limbs. The turtle knows how to curl it up, and therefore it withdraws from the senses, and it's very sheltered under the shell. So the whole point of spirituality is that the senses, 5 senses, are like the horses. The horses will run. You cannot control the horses, because especially now, the world has become extremely enchanting, and the technology brings the world to you so much closer. So we are really in a situation where we can be extremely compromised. So the whole idea of doing all this nature walk, mindful exercise, breathing, meditation, focusing, all this is for what purposes? Is to tie back the horse back again. So not running it around, tying it back. The question is why we should tie it back is because when you are experiencing happiness and joy and that real bliss of that feeling, you cannot get this anywhere else outside. So once you are very confident that you are getting the source of your inner happiness from this source, the senses loses its fascination to attract us, to withdraw us. So this has been my experience the last 40 years as a youth and all that. Nothing exciting. It's exciting. Everything's good. But there's nothing more exciting than his mission. If you focus on the mission, your mind is not distracted. Otherwise, you'll find for 3 days you'll be here, and then 2 days you'll go there. You go for a conference, or you go for a retreat, and then you feel so high for the first 3 days, and then after that it all dissipates, and then again the world will capture our mind and rob us. So we know the senses are so attractive. But if the mind continuously gets possessed with the idea, how do we improve? What else can we do? How else can we do? I'll give you a good example. Yesterday, I was watching this movie. There's one Hindi movie I saw, a Hindi movie, very nice movie, and it was about a scam and how people are luring into the scam, and how the girls are getting affected, and how it is happening. This really troubled me. So I was sitting. Then I called up our values, innocence, purity coordinator, Dr. Sharla. I called up. I asked her, "Hey, this is really a big thing, because people are losing like this. As scammers are coming in, they're luring people into relationship, and they're compromising the ideals and values. What can we do?" So in the program, we have one module on this. She said she has one. I said, pluck it out and make it big. So we said we'll do a conference on making people become more aware. How do you know you're getting scammed? How do you know you're getting lured? How do you know you're getting trapped? That awareness, let's sensitize them. Then if you do this, then more and more people can be saved. She said, okay. Okay, you see, whatever that we're looking at from the world outside, bring it back again to the mission. You can live in this world, but use the world as a university and bring it up. That's how I do everything in my life. Everything that I see, everything I do, how can I improve? How can the organization improve? How can we touch more people's life? This is my own personal possession. Because of that possession, I'm not easily distracted from many other things. I just keep focusing on his work and just keep on doing, and it's very happy. And the reason why we do it is because you're happy. And when you're happy and you're joyous, then you don't have to be affected by all the other thousand things that happens in the world. So this is what I think we should be doing. I find everything else can be done, but mission work is the most passionate work that will keep you all the time on trail.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Uncle. Awesome. Oh, Advaita, did you happen to post this flyer here?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just
Yes.
1 second. 1 second. Just before this slide, I think this is a very, very important slide. What she has shown here. Look, this is where we are. Your comfort zone. Because we are trapped here, we never want to do anything to move away from our comfort. Spirituality is embracing discomfort. If you're going towards hardship, is very good. If you're going towards a struggle, fantastic. If you're going through uncertainty, is fantastic. Because Baba said, love my uncertainty. Because only in uncertainty, magic happens. Where the magic happens is in this area, in the bigger area, not in the smaller one. So this is a powerful diagram to illustrate the idea where we should really be going. If you're so juggling so much commitment, so much things, and we cannot do, that's when you should do. I don't have time, I cannot do it then. Break limitations, break barriers, and move away from the comfort. We will embrace spirituality in the true sense. Sorry,
Sure.
I just want to add that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I know that is my favorite too. Being uncomfortable. Be comfortable, being uncomfortable. Yes. Awesome. Yeah. So tell us, Advaita, I don't know that you posted this job opportunity for us.
Yeah, I came across this Bhagavad Gita, job opportunity flyer. So it seems like they are hiring people for the position of a world leader, and let's see what requirements they have.
Oh my God, this sounds very exciting. Okay, here we go. We have a job description. So we are looking for a leader who the world can look up to. Okay. The ideal candidate should be responsible, efficient, disciplined, focused, and hardworking. Okay. They should resemble a 1,000-watt bulb at all times, always bright and positive. Oh boy. They should be totally connected to the Atma, irrespective of time or location. I think you lost me there. They should be in total control over their senses, and they should be able to maintain positive attitude despite recurring conflicts and chaos. Man, it sounded too good at the beginning.
I know, right? And I just think, yeah, we are responsible or disciplined and hardworking, okay, when we look at ourselves. But then always being bright and positive, always being connected to the Atma, maybe during our prayers, during, different times of the day, but not always. And being in total control of the senses. And yes, Sister Uma says, Suresh, uncle fits the job description. I thought so. So, brother, what do you think? Like, isn't it too much to ask? I know you're an outlier.
Yeah. No, this is a very, very, actually, this is how we should be living. This is how I myself, I don't think I can fit in also, because you know why? This is a challenge, but that is the best part. This is the ideal of man making is this is how we, then why don't we aspire? For example, I always say, when you see this great muscular people coming out from the gym, oh, like Hrithik Roshan and all this great, oh, muscle body. You look at that muscle, my God, how did they get? It's such an idealistic thing. But if you go to the gym and exercise and exercise and exercise, this will be the outcome. Our job is, this is the ideal. This is what God wants us to be. But it is an ideal that we can aspire for. So what the world tells you, oh, you cannot be, it's not possible, it's not so easy. Nothing like that. Everything depends on the yearning and the intention. See, when we have the intention, anything is possible. First in spirituality is you must have that yearning. And the greatest yearning, I can tell you, you can easily fit into all these things by just one thing. Oh, Bhagavan, I don't want to be, you told me to be God. No, Swami, I don't want to be God. I just want to be your dog, where I can be faithful to you and just do exactly what you want for everything. And you make me God, that's up to you. But aspire to be that faithful, loyal, adhere, and just keep on functioning for him. He will make us all achieve this particular thing. We did not desire for it. It will be our natural manifestation. But the main thing is yearn to love God, yearn to love. Yearning is the most important learning. If you can continue to yearn, it will be, I tell you, there's nothing. That's why I always tell Baba, Swami, you take everything, but don't take the yearning from me to reach you. That's all. The river, Swami said, the river has the innate intelligence to reach the ocean. Why is man not having that? We all get stuck and we get into pond and lake and all these things in different places. And then the lake and pond, oh God, why am I not becoming like a river to reach you? The God said, you can flow. How to flow? By removing the flaw. You see, the flow can
Oh,
happen if you remove
wow.
the flaw. Flaw means God. What is God? Get out devil. Take out the impurity, we become impure. So the whole task and trouble is sadhana, effort to have that yearning to reach him. That's all. Everything else will be natural manifestation of reaching to this particular point. That's all.
And very nice, remove the flaw for the flow. Okay, keep that in mind. And so these verses talk about subduing our senses, controlling the mind, being free from attachment and aversion, keep our minds absorbed in God. And maybe the next slide also, yes, one who remains undisturbed amidst misery, doesn't crave for pleasure. And I'm sure the requirements for the job comes from this. But then there was one line, Brother Way talked about being efficient and all. None of these verses talk about being efficient. So where does that efficiency come from? Like when you just look at, yeah.
Efficiency comes from, see, recently we had a conference, Zone 4 conference. Everybody came, we had a good thing. But at the initial stages, there were a lot of uncertainty. So when we're asking, the efficiency comes when you keep on, Bhagwan, are you happy with this? Is this how you want it to be? Or how you want this to improve? So when you keep on asking God, is this a better version? Is this the best thing? That is efficiency. Efficiency is when you are in love with someone. When you love a girl so much, you'll give one flower, then you give two flowers, then you bring a box of chocolate. This is now you'll get a dress. You'll do so many things to please her, isn't it? The same thing, divine romance also. When you love God, you want to make the work the best work that you can give, so you dedicate it to God. That making something better and better is efficiency. Efficiency cannot come without proficiency. That is why Swami's first thing is you must love him. He'll proficiently love him, see who he is. Then he will remove the deficiency. Once the deficiency remove, you will gain sufficiency. Sufficiency means total fulfillment. This is how the flow goes.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so then we have responsibilities, which include but are not limited to taking care of self, family, friends, strangers, community, country, and the world. Okay. Finding attachments in self and initiating detachment process to completion. Working at atmic level, which also encompasses physical, mental, emotional, and intellectual levels. Work could include small acts such as smiling at a stranger or giving hug to oneself. Work could be as large as negotiating peace between countries. So let's see which of the Bhagavad Gita shlokas refer to these points. Okay, so verse 71 says, that person who gives up all material desires and lives free from a sense of greed, proprietorship, and egoism attains perfect peace. Verse 61 says, they are established in perfect knowledge, who subdue their senses and keep their minds ever absorbed in me. And probably absorbed in me refers to working at that atmic level, which encompasses all the other level, mental, physical, intellectual, and beyond that, I would say. And the next one who remains unattached under all conditions. Okay. And is neither delighted by good fortune nor dejected by tribulation. He is a sage with perfect knowledge. And yes, definitely only a person who is a sage can, I think, be there. Next slide, Anusha.
So it also says that priority will be given to those candidates who have prior experience of being unaffected by chaos outside. So technically, you must have been exposed to chaos and you should have been unreactive to it. Can work for 8 hours without being distracted by gadgets or social media, can demonstrate that they work for the sake of joy, and can demonstrate that they do not work for extrinsic motivation such as status, position, and material wealth. I think this applies to not just for the Bhagavad Gita establishment. I feel it can apply to every job that these qualities can be good prerequisites for it.
You know, Anusha, if people can understand, if this is how you work in your own office, I'm telling you, you are away from all the competition in the world. Because when others are competing for position, for wealth and money, you are just doing it for the joy of work, number one. Number two, Swami said, many of them will do with duty. Duty. I find this is a very, very narrow way of looking at things. When you do with the duty, it's only dharma. Baba said, love without duty is divinity. See, that is what this is. That means to say, I don't need to do it, but I'm extending. I'm looking at the internet to see who are my competitors, what are they doing, and then I go to my boss and tell, hey, fantastic! I never asked you to do this. Yes, I know. I'm concerned about the organization. I'm interested to know who is to leverage on the competitive advantage. I find these people are doing like that. Doctor, I think this we can be doing it this way. My God, you went 2 steps ahead. Why did you do it? I'm not giving you any pay. I'm not giving you any raise. How did you do it? Because my teacher told me love without duty is divinity. And I'm just doing it out of joy. You see? See so where will you believe? Automatically his eyes will look at you because you can function without any of these boundaries. That is why you need to move away from the comfort, embrace discomfort, always do things that are moving away. Everyone gets into one cage. That's why I give you a very good example of this. You see the word you put there, sage. Remember the next word you put, you see, go to the next slide, you see, you put the word sage. I'll show you a formula here. Okay, look at, no, the next slide. I see the word sage somewhere.
I think here, right? He is a sage with
Sage.
perfect.
Okay, sage. Okay, cut out the word sage and put AGE. What do you get? Age, right? Age. Just have age. All right. Age, if you move upwards or you move downwards. Supposing you move upwards, let's say if you move your age, if you move towards psi, S, that is to say, you will become a sage. That means to say continuously you should move towards Swami, you will become this age. That is why spiritual people, Madhara Babaji, 100 over years, you're sitting in the Himalayan mountains. Why? Because you move towards something sustainable. So the age becomes, you become a sage. But the very age, why people age fast is because you move towards C, which is, C is conditioning. When you condition your life to all the limits, I cannot do this, I'm only doing that. The more and more conditioning you put, you will be in a cage. So this is the simple thing. So if you take this simple formula, you want to go to S or C. Do you want to be a sage or you want to be a cage? You will decide. That decision power is only us. That's why Swami Krishna, after 18th chapter, he never forced him. He said, now you consider. That's what he said. You consider now. Whatever I've told you, you make a choice. That choice, whether you want to go towards S or towards C, is my decision. That is what determines our life. So today, those of you are here, you can decide today. From today onwards, I want to live like a sage. Who is the Gita to tell us you are sage? And you decide. I want to be like a sage. I want to be like this. Decide in your life and then become like a whatever you want to do. You put the prescription onto you and move towards this direction because they are telling you that you will get so much of joy and bliss and happiness. Who is that is depriving us? Our own mind tells us, oh, you cannot be, it is very tough, it is very difficult. In life, you have to be only like this. In life, you have to be, they limit you until we reach the ICU. In the ICU, we'll be breathing like this, and then we'll be thinking, that's the time when all the realization will come. But it is already too late. The decision making towards moving towards a higher enlightened state is ours. This is our birthright. That's what Gita is telling. That is what Swami is telling. All the things. That is why our aspiration to reach the ocean must be very high. Then you'll find your mind will not be distracted with all these things. Because you look at the world, my God, I sometimes sympathize and pity the young people because there's so much temptation, the technology, it's just amazing. How to get out of this sensuous jungle and focus only on him is a real challenge. That is why people, all of us should work ourselves towards creating more and more light in us so that everybody can come and see and then get inspired and move towards God. Sage, age, remember the one.
Age. So chapter 2 continues with verse 56. It says, one whose mind remains undisturbed amidst misery, who does not crave for pleasure, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called the sage of steady wisdom. Again, the sage of steady wisdom. Therefore, one who has restrained the senses from their objects, O mighty armed Arjun, is firmly established in transcendental knowledge. This is going to come later, but he pretty much says the restraining of senses is critical for us to go any further ahead in our spiritual, advancement. Chapter 2, verse 69 is interesting. It says, what all beings consider as day is the night of ignorance for the wise, and what all creatures see as night is the day for the introspective sage. So, Uncle, when we interpreted this verse, we thought of it as how perspectives differ. And, and Advaita was able to find these images for us where one person, she is unaffected whether it is Monday or Friday. And she continues to enjoy doing whatever she is doing. Meanwhile, the other person probably has a harder time doing things on Monday compared to Friday. Did we interpret that right? Or how would you take this further?
Yeah. So what the sage is telling, like this, for a guy who's running around in the, this is all impractical. This is not, I mean, it's nice to go to temple, clap our hands and go around the temple and come back. Okay. And then but we got 1,000 things to do. And this is one of the things that we should do. You see, this is how the thing, but the sage is saying, is reversing the whole thing. Hey, this is the reality. If you work in the world of illusion, moving towards reality, you will get perspectives, correct perspectives. So the first lady who thinks Monday and Friday is the same, and she's deriving 5 days of extreme sense of joy. She's having the most experience. When you're experiencing joy, your body is producing endorphins, your neurotransmitters are high, your immune cells are optimized, you are remaining healthy. This fellow who's now Monday blues is coming back, and then Friday is thinking, he's fluctuating, his system is up. By the time he reaches 45, 50, there will be health problems on the guy who says, thank God it's Friday. But the health problems will be compromised and will not be there in the other person who finds joy in the work. People don't understand when the scriptures are saying this to you is for your own well-being. It is for your own benefit and to enjoy a beautiful life. So the sages, when they say certain things, we always think that for them is dark, for them is day, for them is dark. Each perspective is changing. But what the wise people are telling you is that we need to follow this so that in the world of illusion that you're living in, you also can see the real. Impose the reality on the illusion. Not we are telling, impose the illusion on the reality. That's what this Avarna Vikshepa Shakti, and people get too caught up. But why don't we impose the reality on the illusion? For example, when you go to work tomorrow and you say, oh Lord, thank God I still have work. And I must continue to say that today and everywhere there's so much unemployment is going on. Thank God I still have work. Son, thank God I got thing. When I do the work, I want to do it the best way. God, this is for you. If I have those kind of thoughts and I impose that piece of information on the work that I'm doing, my work becomes a joy. Work becomes a joy, and that work becomes a joy. You become creative. Once you become creative, you'll contribute. Once you contribute, you will be efficiency. All these things will start increasing like crazy. So people don't understand. That's why Swami said, if you work on to me, your yoga shema for this life and the next, I will take care. Krishna says this, but Swami also repeated that. This is the realization people must understand. You are here. Why you keep on cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and spending 15 hours cutting when I can just spend 20 minutes, I can sharpen the knife, one shot I can cut, it's okay. Why don't we think that spirituality is the sharpening of the sword that you can just you can cut it. So instead of spending 3 hours doing a work, you can finish it in 30 minutes or 45 minutes because your mind is like razor blade, razor sharp. That is what efficiency is all about. If you take the spiritual people also take 3 hours, the normal people also take 3 hours. There's no difference. We don't need spirituality. Spiritual people must be working. That's why Swamis, you see, you look at how he is, super specialist hospital, 9 months. You think he didn't know that he should have it? He could have had 10-year plan slowly, brick by brick. He didn't do that. November, he announced it. March, April, he started his work, and September, November, first operation took place in the hospital. Why? He is demonstrating spiritual people must become efficient. Therefore, what this night for them is for us day. What is night day for us is night for them. That is what this interpretation is all. It's a very powerful line to indicate that what the masters are talking about in the world of the worldly will always be seen different. But we must have the wisdom to see what they're saying.
Very profound. Thank you, Uncle.
This is our short answer.
But we do have the Bhagavad Gita establishment also has a very strict policy. It is an equal opportunity employer, no doubt, but the two things they need is attitude and altitude, which kind of go hand in hand. I think this is something we are all familiar with. It is especially true. I don't know how many of you, like mountain climbers, especially, right? Of course, they are going to that altitude. They need to have really, fit body, and they need to have their breathing under control, and they need to, make sure they pace themselves, and they don't have to they shouldn't rush, or have this level of anxiety or anything, because it's going to affect their breathing. And if it's going to affect their breathing, the higher they go, it is going to affect their path, and they may not be able to climb after. So that is why they need to be really steady, with a very level headedness. They need to do that. Applies to any physical activity for that matter, because it is a long term thing that they are planning to go. So Advaita, I know you wanted to share something here. Go for it, and then we'll call Uncle to talk especially about the attitude and altitude part.
Sure. So we at our center we have an old lady whom we lovingly call Amma, and she's in her 70s, and maybe a couple of years back, her group, they decided to go to Mount Kailash, and her guru gave her a set of kriyas, I guess some breathing exercises, which they had to do for a couple of months before they ventured out. And they were only a few people who said that were able to go to the top, and the others had to be, flown in by the helicopters to the city of Kathmandu. But I was surprised that she could do it, right? And given her age, and that's what she said, like, I did all my kriyas very regularly and all of that. And so I was like, oh yes, so these little the satsangs and these attachments, the finding of our attachments, and letting go of all that doesn't serve us anymore. I think these are those kriyas that we are doing in order to reach that the top, the mountain top. And also just yesterday, I attended with my daughters a small music concert. Um, my kids' music teacher had organized it, and it was like a small scale program, but she had sent out a message like everybody please attend, So we were there on time, and these were like young artists, but then they were flown. Some were from Chicago, some from maybe East Coast and all. So they were all set there ready to perform. And I look around, and like the audience were like only 2 or 3 families. And I'm like, oh my God, we have these artists from, they've been flown in here, and we don't have anyone here. Oh my God, like how will they be feeling? And so then the music program started, and slowly people started trickling in, and within an hour or so, it was a full house. But I was like, oh, thank God. But what if the artist thought that way, Oh, I don't have a full house, people don't care. If they're singing for that fame or position and all, you know, then what happens, right? I guess it's very tough. And I think that's the reason, like, when we see in the media that artists who achieve success very early on and they are not equipped to handle that fame, or even at some point rejection, then I think they go into substance abuse or whatever. That is the thought that came to my mind. But brother, please feel free to add more.
Very nice. Actually, if you check the mountain climber, he would have he would have started with a small hill behind his house. Then slowly, as time goes by, another little bit tallest hill in his area. Then he will go to the tallest mountain in his country. Then he'll go to his region. Then he'll go to the. You see, he builds. Okay, my question is, if he has climbed the tallest mountain in his country, why does he want to climb a tallest mountain in another place? The reason I've asked this question, I've personally asked people because I know my very close people are all mountain climbers. So I always ask them, what's your thrill in the no, boss, if I conquer this, I want to see whether I can conquer that. Then he wants to conquer that. Then these guys, what they do, they go for training months and months of cycling and all to develop endurance, and they try Everest. So I'm so marveled by the fact. So what is the point? The point is your altitude will shape your attitude. So the problem with life is that because we are flying at such a low level, we hit at every obstacle that is on our way and get disappointed and run to the temple. But the whole idea of a temple is the temple is telling us, that's why you have big gopurams, increase your altitude, my friend. Then you fly over the obstacle, but we don't fly. We hit it. Why my life is like that? Why is like this? Why? Because you're not raising your altitude. We need to raise it up at such a high level. The attitude becomes automatically humble enough to perseverance, endurance. Like that, in spirituality also, we should have altitude. Everybody goes for bhajan. What one bhajan finish and come back. What's your next? Oh, next week I'm going for the bhajan. Oh, your bhajan. Okay, 100 birthdays, 100 bhajan. Okay, that day there was one session group, in a WhatsApp group. Somebody SMS and said, brother, we're going to sing 100 bhajans. I said, okay, that's fantastic. Why don't you start at the start of the bhajan, write one note and say, Swami, at the end of 100 bhajans, I'm going to give up my most negative quality, which is that anger, whatever it is, write it there. After the bhajan, put it into a basket, and all of you collect this and throw it in the dustbin. At least at the end of 100 bhajan, you moved one step more. You're increasing your altitude towards God. So this is the aspiration that we should be having. Unless we have that altitude, we won't challenge ourselves. That's why when you challenge yourself, only you can come out of the comfort. Remember, I told you the comfort. If you don't believe me, you ask all the Swamijis to go and search for the gurus in the Himalayan mountains. You think when they go up there, Swamiji, I come to, please teach me the mantra. You think immediately go and have a cup of coffee and come back, take brew hot coffee, come and sit on my feet. I will, over toast, I will tell you the mantra. You think this is going to be like that? The fellow has to sit with the master for months and sometimes years of tapas. That fat, plump man would have become like a thin, even the wind blows, he will be blown away. That kind of constitution he develops. And then only at the height, master says, come. He says, I'll whisper to you. And he gives the mantra after so much of ordeal. Why? Because he is moving him away from what? Comfort. He's moving away from the pull of the senses. He's trying to put him into a very high altitude. And he's trying, with that altitude, he's testing his attitude. This both comes together. So like that in spirituality, we have to have higher and higher altitude. Deeper and deeper should be the experience, because you're transcending what? The five koshas. You're transcending all the limitations posed by the five koshas to get to the inner diamond of the Atma. That is why Swami said, Swami, how did you tell me this? Hey, my starting speech, I'm telling you. What did you tell, Swami? Atma Swarupalara. You are the embodiment of the. I am already defining you and telling you, you are living in the mental mind sheath. You are living in the Vijnaya Maya Kosha, Ananda Maya, Anna Maya Kosha. I am telling you straight away, you are Atma Swarupalara. You are you are Amrita Putra, children of immortality. Go for that one. If you have that altitude, you have nothing to worry about your attitude. It will shape, altitude will shape the attitude. Once you have these two things together, coming together, whoa, you are a superpower. Then you will work. Then you will, when you step down from position, you are you going back? No, I was the center of this one leader, and now I have stepped down. Now let other people do. And are you going to run and do? No, brother, I finished my term. We won't say things like this. Whether you have position or you have no position, you will continuously be committed, because you know your mukti and moksha is directly proportional to effort, which is what Baba said. See, but that is what love without duty is divinity. So this particular phrase is a very powerful phrase, but it all depends upon what is the altitude in which you want to fly. So spirituality is not a pastime activity. I finished this, I finished that, I finished this, and therefore I got a little bit more time. Therefore, any bhajan going on. So you can have that attitude. But the whole idea is, the whole purpose is spirituality is the highest. The vocation is the highest vocation, higher than PhD. higher than fear. Once you achieve, once you want this alone, everything in your life will just come naturally and beautifully and wonderfully well to your favor. So this is what the teacher is trying to promise and trying to say in all these Vahinis, including the Gita Vahini. Yeah, that's true. Imbalance is a no-no.
Yes, brother, I think you just talked about that, right?
Yeah.
Imbalance. And with everything going on all around the world, brother, I think it is because of that imbalance itself, isn't it?
Yeah. You see, all around, you look everywhere, there's a revolution. In Malaysia, just yesterday, there was a big revolution against the Palestinian. Nepal had their revolution. Bangladesh had their revolution. Australia had, UK had, Netherlands. Everywhere, revolution, renaissance, everything is going on because restlessness has become like this now. Why is the restlessness like this? It's because of imbalance. When the imbalance is not there, people are correcting the imbalance, and therefore, this particular period is a period of this kind of things. All your volcanoes, floods are coming like crazy, fire, these are everywhere, so much of uncertainty. That's why, dear devotees, I'm telling you, I'm not saying this to motivate, I'm not saying this, I'm saying very, very clearly in my heart, and I say with all sincerity, those who are here, you have to increase and intensify your meditation. Sit down more quietly with the Lord. Sit down more, because the purer we become, we have a chance to contribute to the impurities that we see in the world. So we don't need to get excited and don't get carried away by seeing the uncertainties of the world. This is a natural phenomena. But the people who Baba is relying on are people like us who have seen God, experienced and realized we should be in this life in gratitude for the fact that He has come to our lives. We should be spending more time yearning to be in His presence, yearning to feel for Him. And that few moments you have increases your frequency. Collective frequency will enable this world to go through this phase. That is why you look at this as an imbalance and keep on saying, what to do, the world is like that, what to do, the world is, but no, we have a role to play. Every devotee here has a role to play in order to restore back this balance.
Yes, definitely. Next slide. So we'll just take a moment to just ruminate over this sentence. What is your ultimate goal of this life? So just ask the participants to just think of this and maybe type in your answers in the chat. What is your ultimate goal of this life? Okay, Anusha, as people are thinking, maybe, okay, sin-free, resolve all baggage. What is sin, Anusha?
I don't want to carry more baggage. I want to get it all sorted and be done.
Okay, so we have answers coming in.
Making God happy, live in light, freedom to realize I am love. Know and experience my true nature. Constant integrated awareness full of peace and bliss, and make Swami happy. Raise awareness of all around. Realize the oneness in everyone.
Very nice. Thank you. Let's see what we have in the next slide. So, to be free and not to come back. If I have to come back, then not in times of, what's that? IA? Is it AI? I don't know, IA, but in Satyug. Okay.
AI.
Yeah, AI. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, the Bhagavad Gita Establishment Office offers these reward or the benefits. Their salary is bliss, peace, transcendental knowledge, fulfillment, and also a razor sharp intellect. Okay, Swami has my goal planned. Okay. All right. So these are the benefits of working, of when we follow what we are supposed to, as we have discussed so far. That's the salary. So let's see where we got those from. So verse 65 says, by divine grace comes the peace in which all sorrows end, and the intellect of such a person of tranquil mind soon becomes firmly established in God. Therefore, one who has restrained the senses from their objects, O mighty armed Arjun, is firmly established in transcendental knowledge. Brother, can you just clarify for us what this transcendental knowledge means in layman terms?
Yeah. You see, all knowledge that you have in this world is by your experiences. That means only with reference to what it is. Is God tall? No, he's not tall. Okay. So you see, can you see? I cannot describe him in any way. Every aspect of God's experience cannot be equated to any knowledge that you have in this world. So when you have that particular thing, that's why scripture reading is an art. You have to read it with that mind in which the teacher is trying to say so much, but he cannot because he's limited, because he's trying to say it. But the English vocabulary do not have that breadth and depth of meaning which he's trying to convey. That is why you have to contemplate. So when you contemplate, you're trying to transcend all known knowledge experience. That when you transcend all the knowledge that you know to transcendental knowledge means there's nothing that you can actually experience in this world that you are experiencing in that world. That is called transcendental knowledge. That means you have to transcend even the experiences that you possibly have or the knowledge that you have. That is why in the Dasha Sloka, when Adi Shankara was merging with God, at the last part, one devotee finally asked, what is merging? And there's no scriptural reading that tells you what exactly is a merger, because every document that highlights that will be compromising the actual experience. And then Krishna, only this Dasha Sloka where Adi Shankara mentions, after reading that only you'll understand that he says, whatever you know is just only one tiny speck of what you should know. Can you imagine? That means whatever concepts and ideology, everything that you know about these things is just one tiny speck compared to what is actually should be known. In other words, all masters are trying to do is to help us to prepare ourselves to take off and experience this blissful state. That is what we should be doing. That is why the curtailing of the senses, refining our culture, refining our knowledge, including directing our vision towards inwards so that we can gain this beautiful experience. We have to transcend. So that's why even sometimes in satsangs, we experience a satsang. The sangha is of the sat. Sat means truth. So we cannot go on talking about what is your opinion about this, what is your opinion. Opinions are just generally man-made, and you can. He is saying something. Okay, how should I take that? So implicit obedience and adherence to that particular word and strictly following that particular injunction will give us that ability to transcend all known knowledge to experience the transcendental knowledge. So that is what the teacher is promising. And then transcendental knowledge, 10 to the power of 18 bliss, the happiness of one man who has got good wife, good car, good this, good that, everything fantastic, high position, big salary position, he's so happy. Multiply that 10 to the power 18 of that happiness of that man is what bliss confers. Can you imagine? In Taittiriya Upanishad, it is stated like that. So, my God, then that is why what is this normal, mundane? This is the best part. Why should I compromise this for that? So I want to go for the best. That is what the yearning should be, to transcend all this and reach the higher height.
Thank you. Next slide, Anusha. So verse 66 says, but an undisciplined person who has not controlled the mind and the senses can neither have a resolute intellect nor steady contemplation on God. For one who never unites the mind with God, there is no peace. And how can one who lacks peace be happy? True.
That's why some of the answers just now you gave, I was very happy. Say, well, make God happy. That's it. Simple as that. That's why Swami, what is happiness? Happiness is only, definition of Swami's happiness. Happiness is only union with God. That's it. He finished it. One line, he finished it. Happiness is only union with God. And then when some people reply, to make God happy, that's all. So that's why in the plays, and we have stage 12 productions in front of Bhagavan, after the whole play, everything is over, everybody will go near Swami and take photograph and all these things with Swami. I won't go that place. I will stand at the point in which Bhagavan is taken to his room. So I will stand near the entrance because that's the least number of people will be there. I'll just stand there. Then when he finishes all the photography, this, that, he comes back and he's just about to enter, I will kneel down because he's coming in a wheelchair. I will kneel down and ask him, are you happy? He will look at me, very happy, very happy. I like to hear that, very happy. Finish. I'm happy. I'm done. I've got. I'm. So the point of the story is, as long as we live in this world making God happy, you got nothing to worry. No need to worry. You don't have to even. Once you make Him happy, everything will be in our favor. Everything will go according to what His plan is. So live according to His plan. Don't plan something so grave, everything, and then everything collapses. Just go according to Him. Be in that flow that you are always thinking. I am His instrument. I am His instrument. Bhagavan, am I happy? Am I true? Am I fit? Am I honest? Am I sincere? You see, I'll tell you something, a secret. There, Krishna said that you must be free from anger. You must be free from fear. You should not have attachment. I want to reverse it. You see, I think it is like this. If you want to have attachment, have one attachment. What? With God. Just I want only attachment with God. Number two, you want to be angry? Be angry. Be angry with what? Be angry with your anger. Be angry that why couldn't I sit down for longer meditation? Be angry. Be upset the fact that you're not perfect. Aspire for that perfection. So be angry with your inadequacies, incompetencies. Gee, that person said something, I shouted at him. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? I should not have. That anger that we are not arriving at that point, that will propel you to go through. You want to have fear? Have the fear. Oh Lord, there's only a few more years to live. I want to experience you. I want that yearning. So turn this around. That is why Mahavishnu, if you notice, he sleeps on the snake. You look at the six-headed snakes. It is turning inwards. No snake in this world has ever turned inwards. But that snake of Mahavishnu, that bed, all the five-headed snakes or six-headed snakes will turn this way. What does it mean? It means that turn the negativity towards this. You want to have the feeling of this, turn it like that. When you turn it like that, Mahavishnu will be sitting there. Mahavishnu, the one who is omnipresent, omnipotent, that individual self, the Atmic embodiment, will be lying in the bed there with you. This is what is called Vaikunta, a place without fear. That is the definition of Vaikunta, which is place without fear. That aspiration, if we have continuously driving us, you'll feel so inspired every day of your life. Thank you, God, for one more day in your life. One more day you have given me to be an instrument. One more day you have given me. Thank you, Swami. I'll do this work. I will do for you. I'll do. What else you want, Swami? What else you want? Like that, we keep on having that aspiration. Your work also will be perfect. Your family life also you will try and do. Whatever you do, you just be happy and do. That is why, just as the ocean remains undisturbed by the rivers, that means from the river, all the water will be coming. I am not in the river. I want to be in the ocean. In the ocean, so many things will come, but the ocean is undisturbed, is unmoved, like the sage is unmoved. So therefore, he'll be moving around. You will have all the sense objects, but nothing to worry. He's just not disturbed. That experience is what we want to do. In fact, let me tell you something. In Zone 4, what we have, not our scriptural study, Satisai scriptural study, I'm sharing with you. We just discussed 3-4 days ago. We are planning to have a 5 days spiritual retreat in Himachal Pradesh. We're trying to organize that with very advanced, deep studies, get all these people to really anchor on Swamis in Himachal Pradesh next September. We're trying to see how this can be organized. So I'm just giving you in advance. Himachal Pradesh, we're having trekking and temple visit and all these things together. We'll let you know. This is just, we haven't even gone through the organization, but this is just last 2 days ago, we had a discussion with our committee and we are thinking that we'll organize this. So anyway, so these are all things why our aspiration is everybody, every Sai devotee, every Sai member must experience this. They must have happiness in their life. They must have blissful feeling. That is what the organization has been for the purposes of achieving that. We want to drive everybody towards this particular objective. Organize your work, whatever you do, that's all a result of your experience and a result of an expression of gratitude that you are experiencing your Atma and you're transmitting this Atma to everybody. This is what we're trying to do, brothers and sisters.
That's so nice. And you already talked about the ocean remaining undisturbed. So that's just one video for
Yes.
us to just watch and contemplate on. You can play that, Anusha. Doesn't have a sound, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I just thought, when I was watching that brown stuff from the river, I thought those were just the attachments. But once you enter the ocean, my God, it's just blue. Such a stark contrast between the two, right? And my God,
Everything
like,
gets dropped there. You drop everything when you get to that point of entering the ocean. Let go, drop everything, and then go merge. That's it. Yeah.
hopefully it's that simple, but yeah. Let's go to the next slide. So, for our participants here, what if we were to apply, for this post that the Bhagavad Gita offices asked for? Where do we see ourselves? Do you think, yeah, I'm in a pretty good position. Yeah, I'm getting there. Or am I just starting out the process? Or I want to go there, but it's a bit too overwhelming. So, what is your response? You can just scan the code and Anusha, maybe you need to stop sharing so that I can share my screen. See. Okay.
Oh, nice. Getting this nice.
Mm. So, okay, nice. Nice. At least we feel good about ourselves. That's good. It's nice we are not too overwhelmed by the fact that, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So I think we realize attachments, and I think we have a path in front of us, right?
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you for your responses. And so we'll go back to our slides. So we had asked, because this was the last session for chapter 2, we had asked a few questions to the audience if they had any questions regarding, because it was a variety of topics that we covered in chapter 2. So I think Anusha has a few questions, then I have some. So go ahead, Anusha.
Okay, so yeah, we thank you all, by the way, for sending your questions. It even gave us chance to, reflect on it, contemplate on it. Uncle, the first question we have is, how do we make sure that personal spiritual progress is happening? And somebody is also saying, how can I know if I'm on the right path and making progress? And how do I know if I'm following my Atma Dharma? I think I'm doing the right thing and on the right path, but how can I be sure of it? Do you have?
So first point is, see, look down and see at all our present weaknesses that we have. Let's say we get hot tempered very fast, we get irritated very annoyingly, we disturb other things. We write down, be very honest and candid. That's why one of the best ways to progress is have a journal, personal journaling. Journaling is a very important part where you write your own the versions of yourself, your perspectives of things. So if you keep on writing these things down, you know where you are and what you then as you keep on progressing, assess this every month, once a month, 2 months, 3 months, you find that you yourself can see that person irritated you, but you're not answering. Yeah, that's interesting. Last time you'll be always wanting to see the TV, but now the TV, you're not so much into. Suddenly the detachment has come inside. Suddenly you go to the library, you want to read all the books. Now you're not so carried away by things. You go to a shop, the dresses don't fascinate you anymore. So all these are acknowledgements that you're moving towards. Do you know people who are progressing spiritually are not aware that they're progressing spiritually because they have not measured these things? That is why if you notice in the Zone 4 conference, the study circle which we had for 5 years with Indonesia, they managed to monitor. They did a survey for 92 people and they monitored their progresses, how much envy they have, how much seva they are doing. All this they monitored that, and to demonstrate that there's more yearning to commit themselves to the organization or commit themselves to service activities. So like that, you can measure your progress accordingly. Since we're already measuring in your workplace, you have the key performance indicators to give you the measurement. Your weight is a measurement. Your amount of wealth is a measurement. Then why not spiritual transformation? We ourselves put the barometer and measure that, Yeah. So this is a very important question, and I think how serious we are in this, we should be measured. Why we go to the gym, we ask them, isn't it? We measure, hey, muscles are coming or not, I don't get my six pack, what's the reason? So many things you question because you have already got an ideal and then you're moving towards that ideal. That's why.
Okay. Thank you. So the other question is from one of our participants who feels excluded from center activities like bhajans, chanting, stotram, and some small service activities. And he or she writes that they gets reserved for selected people. So somewhat so that the person who has written in is starting to self-doubt and things like maybe I'm not deserving enough. So they write, should I accept it as Swami's will, or should I keep reaching out to offices to ask for inclusion? What is the way forward?
So I know directly one story where one person, she when she sang first time in the center, people told her, please do us all a favor by not singing. You'll be doing us a great favor. It's not possible. You cannot do it. So that person was very offended and said, what is this I'm trying to do with devotion? And then people told me not to do. So what is the response? Okay, now in spirituality, the greatest problem is that we do not know how to interpret these things. The interpretation process must be correct in our system. That's what spiritual people do. Interpret every event as a trigger point for us to improve. So this lady, what she did was, she started doing Omkar 21 times, morning, evening, afternoon, keep on Om. So the vocal cords became improve. Early morning, 4 a.m., she gets up. Evening, she does this. Lot of tapas. She went through a real lot of tapas, very sincere tapas, and then kept on taking the harmonium and getting equipment. Finally, in the center, she became a bhajan coordinator. And not only she became a bhajan coordinator, she now trains other singers to sing well. And then was a very powerful force in. So everything in life is all about aspiring to fit in. If you are yearning to sing for God, is so great, do your tapas. In fact, I will take this as a challenge. Okay, one day you yourself will invite me to come for the bhajans. Wait and see, and then sit down and do the tapas. Baba, I want to sing for you, and do in your room, but don't take it the other way and interpret this as a means of, oh, they're trying to exclude me, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, there's a clickism system and all that. Our job is whatever you see, interpret everything in a positive manner and increase the altitude. Remember, we talked about it. Increase the altitude, your attitude will be correct. Altitude must be, I will one day they will come inside, they will ask me to sing, and I will sing. You wait and see. That vairagya must be there. Then only spirituality we can improve. Otherwise, every small little issue will become a sensitive issue.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's a very powerful experience. Thank you for sharing. So the next question is actually, I know you talked about it a little bit in our session today, But somebody is curious, how would be the future of our human mind, and what would be the potential impact of technology on our thoughts and perceptions? What is your opinion on the possibility of even implanting thoughts, in a sense, how AI is almost predicting what you should be thinking? It's completing the sentences even before you search it. It's giving you suggestions on, things that you are, remotely interested. Sometimes it's hard to even stay true to, what is the true north that we should be. How in this digital age, how do we keep ourselves, centered
Yeah.
and focused?
So continue living like this, the way we are living. I'm telling you, in about 20, 30 years time, artificial intelligence, robots will all control us. Everything will be control us. Why? Because there are two brains, two parts of the brain. One is the left brain, one is the right brain. Artificial intelligence and robots can only take care of the logical aspects of thinking. Logical. And if we continue to live in this world, following only the dictates of certain rules and all that, we will be replaced by robots. Definitely. Even in your work profession, this is what's going to happen. If we do not have the creativity, the heuristic knowledge, the intentional aspiration to move and better and increase and further the right side creative aspects of the mind, the left side of the brain will completely take over, and then the robots will be running everything else. You'll find a robot doing the arati for you. You'll find the robot next time 35 years from now. Robot will be telling the, welcome to Sai Center. Welcome to Sai Center. They are simply say, hello, excuse me, ladies should be on this side. Male should be. They'll be telling you like this. This is how it will happen in the future. So what is it for us? Therefore, the challenge is now, see, altitude. The challenge is now, if we say robots can replace us, then what is our human brain? Our human brain, you take all the brain cells and put it on a pin. The pin can go 384,000 kilometers up into the sky. That much of brain cells we have been developed. We have got. God gave us so much of brain cells, but we only use a little bit of it. We don't challenge ourselves. We don't want to challenge ourselves. That is why, remember the diagram that they showed. If we continue to remain in our life in that comfortable thing, and that everything in this world will move us away from comfort. That is what the revolution is all about. So embrace discomfort, embrace uncertainty, go into areas that you are not sure of, learn new things, aspire for new things. Then you'll find the brain is used for purposes of creative thing. Challenge everything. Why should it be like this? Why should it be like that? Question everything. Things that the robot cannot do, because robot you need to program, then only they will start functioning. But who programs it? Human beings program it. That means human beings must be more creative. The father of artificial intelligence once said that, he said that there is a mistake that I made. Why? The robots themselves are already thinking. You know what happened when they start thinking? Because when you put in all the data, they start thinking. He said man was the creation, man was the crown of creation. Very soon a humanoid robot will be the crown of creation, because they will compute everything that man can do. So what does it mean? The man must move towards higher and higher states of consciousness, greater and greater states of awareness. This is the era for spirituality. That's what I'm saying. This is the time for spirituality. That's why your atmic realization and yearning for this will give you innate wisdom, inner wisdom, intuitive wisdom. This we must tap. That a robot cannot do. So robots themselves are chasing us to become spiritual. If you look at it, interpret this in another way, they are chasing us to become more and more spiritual and more innovative, intuitive in the world.
That would be crazy. Robots becoming spiritual. But razor sharp intellect. Yes, that's
Yes.
what we have. Yes.
See, intellect is one thing. One thing is Meda Shakti, one is Buddhi Shakti. Meda Shakti is the one Swami said, that one everybody can have. You go to school, come back to learn law, you become lawyer. You learn medicine, you get. This is all Meda Shakti. That one, yeah, that's good. But Baba said, one must have Buddhi Shakti. So in order to develop Buddhi Shakti, we must go into the Buddhi, Vijnana Maya Kosha, touch Ananda Maya Kosha and reach the Atma. Then only you can get the quintessence of the Atma reflecting in our life. So then we move towards becoming a sage. Sage state of consciousness must be there. Then we'll get new things, new ways, new methods, new ideas. We'll become if we can. That's why we are challenging the youth. If the youth continues to function and live in that domain of world, they think that is work, then the robots will replace you one day. It's going to happen very soon. But if they move according to what Bhagavan is saying and experience a spiritual wisdom, they will become more innovative, more creative, and they will become the masters of their destiny. So this is really not this is not just a part-time. That is why I'm saying this is not a pastime. This is not something where we finish work and do. This is real stuff, real stuff that we are talking about in our sessions here. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
brother.
one
And
last question. Yeah.
one last question for tonight. Can we pray for our children's progress? Or do we need to pray for all the children in the world? Or should we just surrender to God?
No. I think there must be some prayer is conveying intention. And there is a way to do that. For example, somebody is in the hospital and you're some relay. So there's an intense connectivity that towards that particular patient. Then we should seriously connect ourselves to God, and then imagine the radiation of peace and love, not worry and anxiety. That's why I tell people, what is the point? You unnecessarily worrying, and is actually you're contributing. You're not contributing anything. You are just showing your concern. It's better to remain the altar, send loving vibration, peaceful vibration, send to the soul. Healing will be faster, recovery will be faster. So that is a strong intentional focus. Number two, when we do generic one, for example, Samasta Logha Sugunu Bhavantu, that we must really feel, for we must feel genuinely that everybody should be peaceful. Everyone, not just parrot say. When you say parrot say, you'll be saying it, but you compare, you supplement that also with an emotional feeling and with the atmic realization that everything is one. Then the impact of that prayer becomes magnified. So that is what we should be doing. The purpose and intensity of the prayer is a very critical component towards making sure that the prayer reaches the respective people in the right manner.
Very well said. Thank you, brother. I think that was a wonderful way to wrap up chapter 2. So I think today was a wonderful session. We have many. I think we need to go back to the video and collect all the wisdom nuggets that you've shared, brother.
Yeah,
So
I want to actually, I want to really congratulate Advaita, Anusha, because you see, the Gita subject is that we can read it and we can, but for you to think innovatively of like the job description, and then that is for me, that is all a breakthrough. If you really ask me, how you convey and communicate such a very esoteric subject to a very practical level is a breakthrough, and that requires certain intensity, certain dedication. Then only that revelation will be given to you. And it's so nice that you have managed to bring those components inside. In fact, all of you have been trying very hard. Every time, every session has always been accompanied by this. Next month is the anniversary. I mean, is that what it is, Anusha?
Yes, we are coming to that, Uncle. If you, Advaita, you want to?
yeah,
Okay.
so next month it's on November 2nd, same time. And so, yeah, Anisha, what do we have there?
You want to move to the next slide?
Oh.
Thank you. So yes, next month is our 2-year anniversary celebration, for which we want all of your input and all of your participation in it. Shortly, we will post a little link, but if you are able to capture that QR code, we want to hear your stories, your transformations, your experiences, even your challenges, your questions that you may still have. We want to develop our entire session based on that. This is a way for all of us to acknowledge this path that we have been traveling for the last 2 years, believe it or not. And of course, 4 years before that was Prema Vahini. If you have been there from there, it's been 6 years so far. But this is where we are going to leave you today. Please think about, as Uncle said, reflection. Taking those moments to reflect on our own personal progress gives us new insights on where we started, where we are today, and where do we want to go. So I hope all of you will take those few minutes and share with us your stories, your transformations, anything that your aha moments, anything that you think would be, helpful for us, so that next month when we come for episode 24, we will have something interesting and something, transformative that all of us can take inspiration from. So thank you all for joining today. We want to acknowledge that everybody has been taking this 90 minutes out of their busy lives to be with us, and share this time with us. So thank you all. Let's close with our closing prayers. Thank you. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all. Sai Ram.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Fire.